A jealous friend posts a fake cheating video for clout, but it goes viral and ruins lives. They say the internet can make or break you in seconds. For some, it's a dream come true. For others, it's the beginning of a nightmare. That night, rain lashed against the windows, and the glow of a phone screen lit up Serena's face. The 24-year-old, with her flawless caramel skin, wavy chestnut hair, and hazel eyes framed by winged eyeliner, stared at the footage she had just edited. She wore her favorite oversized gray hoodie, ripped black jeans, and a smirk that betrayed her intent. Her heart raced. It wasn't real, but it looked real enough. A grainy, dimly lit clip of her best friend's boyfriend in what seemed like a compromising position. She imagined the views, the comments, the surge of followers, but she didn't imagine what would happen next. Serena and Tessa had been inseparable since high school. Tessa, with her deep brown skin, short coily black hair, and a warm, constant smile, had always been the sunshine to Serena's storm. At 25, she was the one who diffused fights, mended hearts, and kept secrets safe. She wore soft pastel dresses, preferred gold hoop earrings, and loved sneakers that contrasted with her gentle demeanor. But Serena had always felt like she was standing in Tessa's shadow. Every time Tessa posted a picture with her boyfriend Liam, a tall, lean man with sandy blonde hair, sharp cheekbones, and a kind smile, Serena's chest tightened. She wouldn't admit it, but jealousy gnawed at her every day. It began as a joke in Serena's mind. What if I posted something that made Tessa's perfect life look not so perfect, she'd whispered to herself. The thought festered for weeks. Then, one Friday night, while scrolling through party clips, she found an old video of Liam chatting closely with a girl at a dimly lit bar. The angle was bad, the audio unclear, but with the right filter and edits it could look damning. Serena bit her lip, imagining the chaos it could cause. The voice inside her that once told her don't do it had grown silent. It was 2:14 a.m. when Serena hit post. She'd used a trending heartbreak soundtrack, blurred the faces just enough to keep it mysterious, and added a caption dripping with suggestive venom. Some people aren't who you think they are. Within minutes, likes trickled in. By morning it wasn't a trickle, it was a flood. Notifications popped up like fireworks and her follower count skyrocketed. She couldn't help but smile, sipping her coffee as the comments poured in, but one comment made her freeze. Isn't that Tessa's boyfriend? Tessa woke to over a dozen missed calls. Still in her light blue satin pajamas, hair slightly messy, she squinted at her phone. The first message she saw made her blood run cold. Girl, have you seen what's going around? Clicking the link, her stomach dropped. The video played, and for a moment she couldn't breathe. The man looked like Liam. The background, the gestures, it all seemed undeniable. Tears welled in her eyes as confusion, hurt, and betrayal battled inside her. By noon, Tessa was at Serena's apartment, raincoat dripping, face pale. Did you see this? She asked, voice trembling. Serena, feigning shock, widened her hazel eyes. Oh my God, Tessa, I saw it this morning. I can't believe Liam would... She stopped mid-sentence, pretending to catch herself. Inside, her heart pounded. She hadn't expected to be confronted this quickly. I'm so sorry, Serena whispered, hugging her, masking the thrill behind the act of comfort. Later that evening, Tessa confronted Liam. He wore his usual black bomber jacket, dark jeans, and the scent of cedarwood cologne. It's not me, he said firmly, his blue-gray eyes holding hers. I don't even know who that girl is, but the internet didn't care about explanations. The comments had already decided his guilt. Liar, cheater, trash, each word felt like a knife in his back. His job, his friendships, even his family's trust, everything was at risk. By the next day, the video had hit 2 million views. Reaction videos popped up everywhere, each dissecting the evidence. Hashtags with Liam's name trended. People speculated about Tessa's reaction, some even demeaning her advice to leave him and find better. Serena pretended to be supportive, all while fueling the fire in anonymous online threads. Every share was a dopamine hit. But cracks were forming, tiny, dangerous cracks in the web of lies. A week later, a user named Truthfinder88 commented, "This video is edited. Watch closely at the 12-second mark." They posted a slowed-down version, pointing out a glitch where Liam's face seemed oddly lit compared to the rest of the scene. It wasn't proof, but it was enough to plant seeds of doubt. Serena saw the comment and felt her throat tighten. She deleted it from her own repost but couldn't erase it from the wider internet. Tessa's cousin Ava, a tech-savvy 19-year-old with sharp brown eyes and a love for digital forensics, took an interest. In her cluttered bedroom, surrounded by dual monitors, she began dissecting the clip. Zooming, enhancing, running metadata checks. Her suspicion grew. "This isn't raw footage," she muttered. "This was tampered with." She called Tessa that night, telling her not to make any decisions until she had proof. Serena tried to keep her cool, but guilt had a way of seeping into her tone. She avoided eye contact with Tessa, overcompensating with excessive sympathy. At night she'd stare at the ceiling, imagining headlines, "Woman exposed for faking cheating scandal." Still, she told herself she could handle it. The internet had a short attention span. In a month no one would care, right? Ava discovered something big. The original clip was from 3 years ago, filmed in a completely different city. She tracked the metadata to a public Facebook album belonging to an old classmate of Serena's. The pieces began to fit together. Tessa listened in stunned silence as Ava laid out the evidence. "I think I know who did this," Ava said, her voice steady. Tessa's emotions were a storm: anger, hurt, betrayal, disbelief. She remembered every secret she'd shared with Serena, every time Serena had been there for her. Or so she thought. Her hands shook as she texted Serena. "We need to talk." "Now?" Serena stared at the message, her stomach knotting. The end of her game was closer than she'd imagined. They met in the park, autumn leaves crunching underfoot. Tessa wore a black trench coat, hair tied back, eyes burning. "Ava found the original video," she said flatly. Serena's face drained of color. "Why?" Tessa's voice cracked. "Why would you do this to me?" The words hung heavy in the cold air. Serena broke. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I was tired of being invisible next to you. Everyone loves you, Tessa. I just wanted, for once, to be the one they talked about." The confession was raw, ugly, and unforgivable. Tessa's eyes glistened, but her voice was steel. "You didn't just hurt me, you destroyed Liam's life." The truth spread like wildfire, but unlike the original scandal, it didn't bring Serena fame. It brought her ruin. Screenshots of Ava's forensic breakdown went viral, showing side-by-side comparisons of the original bar video and the manipulated clip Serena had posted. Social media turned vicious. People who once praised her content now called her a fraud, a manipulator, and a danger to innocent people. Brands that had signed sponsorship deals withdrew within hours, citing integrity concerns. Her inbox filled with hate mail and threats. Even casual acquaintances unfollowed her without a word. Serena sat in her apartment, once her creative space filled with ring lights, props, and streaming gear. Now it felt like a cage. Her caramel skin looked pale under the harsh blue glow of her laptop, her hazel eyes red from sleepless nights. She no longer dressed in trendy outfits for the camera. Now she wore oversized hoodies and messy hair, avoiding her reflection. The silence of her phone was louder than any notification had ever been. The fame she had clawed for vanished overnight, leaving only the echo of her own mistakes. Liam, still reeling from weeks of humiliation, chose to vanish from the noise. The betrayal had cut deep, not just from Serena, but from Tessa's initial doubt. He quietly packed his life into boxes, leaving his small apartment without fanfare. Dressed in his black bomber jacket and dark jeans, he walked away from a city that had turned him into a trending topic. He found a new job in a smaller town, one without gossip blogs or viral drama. Yet even there, the ghosts of the scandal followed. A stranger's glance lingering too long, a co-worker's whispered question. It reminded him that the internet never truly forgets. He deleted all his social media accounts, his once friendly blue-gray eyes now carrying a guarded edge. When he thought about Tessa, it was with a quiet ache. He knew she hadn't made the video, but her uncertainty during those first days had left a scar. Trust, once broken, was hard to mend, and so he chose the simplest option: no messages, no closure, only silence. For Tessa, healing was not a straight path. It was jagged and slow. She poured herself into her art, spending hours in her small sunlit studio. Her deep brown skin glowed in the golden afternoon light as she painted canvases filled with storms breaking into sunlight, abstract shapes representing trust, loss, and renewal. She began attending community workshops on online harassment, speaking quietly at first, then with more confidence as she shared her story. The pastel dresses she once wore now carried a new meaning: softness with resilience. Her short, coily black hair framed a face that no longer smiled as easily, but when she did, it was genuine. Still, some nights, lying in bed, she would replay Serena's confession in her mind, each word dripping with jealousy and betrayal. It would twist in her chest, making her question every shared memory. Forgiveness was a distant shore she wasn't sure she wanted to reach. For now, she found peace in creating something beautiful out of something so ugly. Serena's world shrank until it was just her and the four walls of her dim apartment. Her once bustling message threads were now graveyards of unanswered texts. The caramel-toned skin she once highlighted with makeup now looked dull, and her hazel eyes had lost their spark. She would scroll through her old posts, the ones with thousands of likes, and feel the sting of knowing those moments had been built on envy. When she ventured outside, she felt the weight of eyes on her, real or imagined. She avoided familiar streets, deleted apps that reminded her of the digital empire she'd built and destroyed, and lived mostly in the shadows. Her parents called less often, unsure what to say. Old friends didn't return her messages. Even her neighbors gave her polite but distant nods. Serena had thought fame would fill the loneliness inside her, but in losing it, she realized she had been lonely all along. The internet had moved on, but she couldn't. Months later, Tessa made one final post about the incident. Wearing a simple white blouse and gold hoop earrings, she sat at her desk, camera steady. Her voice was calm but carried weight. The truth always matters. A lie might bring you attention, but it can destroy lives in ways you can't undo. Every share, every click, every comment, it all has consequences. The post spread quickly, but not for drama. People resonated with the raw honesty, sharing it as a reminder to think before amplifying rumors. Liam saw it in his new city but didn't comment. Serena saw it too, alone in her darkened room, the blue light of her phone illuminating tear-streaked cheeks. It was a reminder of what she had taken and what she could never return. And to those of you listening now, remember, the internet is powerful, but so are you. Choose your words and actions wisely. If you want more stories that reveal the truth behind the screen, don't forget to subscribe.